I think having gone through an entire year with someone was really neat because they were at home with me every day, and it really, like, it made it a home instead of just a place to live. And that sounds cheesy, but it was really cool to get to share all of these even fairly mundane daily experiences with another person who really, really understands me incredibly well even to this day.
I think that my favorite part about living with a roommate was that I'm very fortunate and I had a really nice roommate and one that I really got along with. So for me it was really nice to have someone to come home to and someone who cared when I had a bad day or when I had a good day, and someone who I didn't always have to, but like it was nice to have someone that you could ask to eat dinner with you, or like say goodnight to, all those things. Like it really just made it feel more at home here.
Okay. My roommate in particular really liked to be at home without clothes on, which got a little tricky sometimes, but in general, I think the hardest part about living with a roommate was realizing that my schedule wasn't the only one that needed to be accommodated during the day. So waking up and not being able to turn the light on if my roommate was asleep, or sleep schedules. And it works out, but it's a little hard to coordinate sometimes.
This is my most annoying part about living with Tess. And Tess, I want you to hear this. So one time, I was on the App Store on my computer, and I found this really cool game where you got to make, like, burgers and stuff. And then, like, it was an assembly line, and you were trying to make them in time. And Tess came over, and she was like, hey, that's a cool game. Do you mind if I play around? And she snuggled up in bed beside me, and then she beat the whole game. She never gave it back. She beat it. That was the most... The other day I saw that game on my computer and I never played it after that because all the levels were beat.
Okay, one time I was sitting at my desk. Olivia and I had kind of a divided double. It was great. Not because I don't like Olivia, but I was sitting at my desk and Skyping my family, and Olivia was like kneeling next to me, and then we were just talking about, I don't really even know what, and Olivia was like, okay, I have to go. I said, okay, like, see ya. She's like, no, I can't get up. And I was like, what's wrong? She's like, I'm not wearing any pants, and I can't get up while your family's on Skype. I was like, oh my goodness gracious. And so then my brother and my mom hung up and called me back 3 minutes later so Olivia could go to her side of the room, put pants on, and leave courteously.
Yep, that happened. Okay, so the most embarrassing part about living with Tess, so we figured out partway through the year that one, Tess talks in her sleep,
Oh, no.
which I'm a heavy sleeper, so I don't care, but like, I go to bed way later than Tess does, so I would definitely, like, I would still be awake and hear her, like, making weird sounds, and it never made sense. But then there was this one day, and our beds were as high as this bed here, so it's, like, pretty high. And there was one day that she just, like, ninja'd out of bed. It was, like, 2 a.m. I was watching One Tree Hill, laying there, and she just, like, walked over near my bed, stood there for a while, and then turned back and hopped into her bed. And first of all, I don't know why she stood near my face. That was weird. Second of all, I don't know how she got into her bed while she was asleep.
You had trouble with that even while you were awake.
Yep.
I think that in general people are really freaked out about living with roommates because it can be really scary. But everyone goes into living with roommates with really high expectations for how it will turn out, so there's a lot at stake, and what I mean by that is, like, everyone tries really hard to get along with their roommate because everyone wants it to work out. So just going into things with an open mind. Olivia and I, like, aren't necessarily super similar people, but because we understand that we aren't similar and we just are really accepting of what the other one was involved in and supportive of whatever they chose to pursue, like, we were able to not necessarily be involved in the same things, but still, like, get along really well and live together really well.
Yeah. The one thing that I would add to that is that everyone wants to feel like they're at home here. So I think it's important to keep in mind that it's not just your space. So it's not just your home here at UBC, and it's not just their home. And I think that having a roommate, you actually have to actively think about your space and your home together. So I think that obviously the biggest thing, like in any relationship in life, is open communication. So I think that if you establish that early on, it's easier, but at any time, just like in a nice, not offensive way, to be like, hey, like, we should talk about this, because I really want us to live well together. And normally, like, people aren't going to be upset with you because you're being nice.